The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County, and I'm hoping that in the next half hour or so you're going to learn a whole lot more about the Albany County Veterans Service Bureau. And joining us today is the Albany County Veterans Service Bureau Director, Michael Good. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to entertain the Veterans Service Bureau here. There are so many things that Albany County does for veterans. And we should start out, or I should start out by saying, not only welcome to the program, but welcome to Albany County, because you are one of our newest department heads. Let's get an idea for the folks out there. Tell me a little bit about your background, Mike.
Well, I've spent 38 years in the military between the regular Army and the National Guard. I retired as Sergeant Major in 2013. I have a wife and 4 children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 on the way. So.
Oh wow! Wow, that's exciting.
Doing pretty good.
So you have a big family.
It's a nice size.
It's a growing family.
Nice size, yeah.
So you retired in 2013, but that obviously didn't last long. I mean, you've been back with us since, was it late summer, I think, perhaps? Was it?
In July of 2014. While I was home, I started falling apart, so I needed to come back to work.
Falling apart, okay.
Yeah, and Dan McCoy gave me an opportunity to give back, so I decided to come work for Veteran Services.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So tell me about, first of all, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about your family later, but let's talk about your career and the kinds of things you did for 38 years. Really, with a military background. I mean, you must have a varied experience.
Right. Well, what I did was I joined the Army for the first time in 1975. I left high school, joined the Army, went around the world a few times, and I've had various leadership positions in the Army. And I was a forward observer. I was a admin guy. I had the opportunity to visit a lot of different places, and I just enjoyed being in the Army.
What was one of the most interesting places you visited?
The best place I ever been was the Netherlands.
And why?
Because the U.S. Army's never been there, and we opened up a battalion there, an equipment battalion, and we were the first Americans to be in that part of the Netherlands in a long time. Okay. And the people were very, very nice.
Interesting. Now, obviously, when we're talking about your family, how did your family respond to this? Did they move when you were in the Army? Were you stationed out of different places? Did they move with you? How did that work?
No, my wife stayed here, and I did all the traveling. And then I got tired of traveling, tired of being without my family. So I got out of the regular Army, joined the New York Army National Guard, so I can come back here and be with my family.
What are some of the differences for those folks who are not military people like myself? Tell me some of the differences that you saw from being Army to then going into the National Guard.
Well, being in the regular Army, that's a self-contained world. Everything you need, whatever base you're on, that base has it. Whereas here, you have to, being in the National Guard, you have to deal a lot with the civilian population. You know, you have that 2 weeks a year, that that 2 weekend a month, 1 week a year type of thing. But you're basically dealing with the civilian population versus being active Army, you're dealing with a strictly military population. And the people are pretty much more sensitive to your needs being in the active Army than they are dealing with the National Guard and the civilian population.
How so?
Well, they kind of know more of where you're coming from being in the active Army, because most of the people you're dealing with, they're family members in the Army, and their friends are in the Army, whereas being in the National Guard, you're just basically dealing with a civilian population.
Okay. Okay. So you left the National Guard.
I left the regular Army.
You left the regular Army, and then are you still? No, you're not.
No, and then I went into the National Guard. Then I also had a job with the federal government.
Okay.
So I was in the National Guard. I was a federal technician, so I was kind of double dipping.
Double dipping.
Yeah, so
Not something we like to use that term unless we're talking ice cream. But you're with us now. You're with Albany County now.
I'm with Albany County now.
What do you see as you come in as a new director, and we have 20,000 or so veterans who call Albany County home?
Yes.
What do you see as some of the biggest challenges as you took the helm, or as you're still taking the helm and feeling your way around during this really your honeymoon period, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Well, what I see as the biggest challenge is getting the word out to all those veterans that we have in all over the county. I understand the county's big, like 500 square miles that the county has. And getting to those remote locations to where those veterans are is kind of challenging. But
so are you talking, we have 19 municipalities, so we're talking everything from, cities like Albany to
right.
To towns like the town of Colonie,
right.
to
right.
Villages,
right.
and our hill towns. So that's really a challenge here.
Right. Well, right now we're going into nursing homes and supportive living facilities,
okay.
talking to those veterans, and then eventually we'll get out to those little towns and little communities where veterans are to make sure they're getting the services that they deserve.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk also about, there are so many programs and services when you're talking about that they deserve. What are some of the, the very big umbrella services that you go out and you make sure, first and foremost, we want to make sure that the veteran gets X, Y, and Z, that we cover that first? Tell me about some of those.
Well, first, we want to make sure that if they were injured or have an illness that they obtained in the military, we just want to make sure that they're getting those service-connected benefits that they're entitled to. We want to make sure that they're taking advantage of their educational benefits. And those senior military people, we want to make sure that they're getting those pensions that they've earned while they were in the military.
So when you go out and do that outreach, or when someone comes, let's say, to Washington Avenue to see you at your office, what do people generally have with them, or what do they need? Or are you finding that that getting the materials or the background that those paperwork they might need, is that difficult to obtain?
Not really. We have good service officers in our office that work, and the conversations that we have will let us know, and we make sure that they have a DD-214, that's their discharge paper. That's the most important paper that they need to see what benefits they're entitled to. So based on the conversation we have, the service officer is capable of determining what benefits they're entitled to and what paperwork they'll need to get those benefits. Mm-hmm. But the main document that they need is a DD-214 that shows that they have a other than dishonorable discharge.
So that DD-214, is that something when someone is discharged, they get it, the day that they're leaving? At what point does someone have their DD-214?
Well, a lot of them get it the day of their discharge. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they lose those documents, and so the service officer has to send off for it and then wait for that person to get it in the mail and then come back into the office, and then we can help them then.
Sure.
But we really can't do nothing for them without that DD-214.
That's a really important piece of it.
That's the document.
Okay.
They need that.
So I'm going to ask some questions probably that others out there may wonder when you say DD 214. That's terrific. But sometimes you're doing something for a loved one, and so knowing that information, I wouldn't know. Let's say if I had a loved one that I had to suddenly bring information and find it. So the best source would be to come to the Veterans Service Bureau and get that started, and you could actually, you know where to go for that.
Yes, they can come to our office, and they got to have that DD 214 when they come in there, and then we can help. If it's a dependent, we can help them get the benefits that they earned.
So if someone doesn't have a DD 214, say I'm walking in there and I'm helping an uncle, what do I need so that you can help us get that, so you can send away and get that? What do we need to know? Some dates? What do you need us to bring in?
You need to know the name, obviously.
Right.
You need to know the Social Security number or service number, depending on when they were in the military. And you need to know their dates of service.
Okay.
That's the basic information that you need to know. And we can basically get your document from there.
Okay. So that sounds like pretty reasonable stuff. The dates of service, are you talking right down to the day, or you have years?
You can, a month and a year would be great.
Okay.
I mean, if you can get it to the exact date, that's fine. But a month and a year will suffice.
Okay, because I would assume that there are a lot of folks out there, with an aging population that,
Right.
might need to
Right.
try and help get that
Right.
info.
And it doesn't have to be exact. You can be in the ballpark, and as long as you basically get the year, you'll be okay.
Who do you connect with? Who are the veteran service officers connected? Is it somewhere in Washington, or is it different?
Well,
branches?
there's different regions. Our service officers connect with either the New York City office or the Buffalo office. They connect with one of those two offices. But if you're trying to get your military records, there's various places you have to apply depending on the branch of service you are in.
Okay, but having the DD 214 is the first step.
That's the first step.
That's the gateway.
Yeah.
I'm Mary Rozak, and we are talking today with the director of the Albany County Veterans Service Bureau, Michael Good, talking about a variety of things that are certainly important to veterans and those who have veterans in their family. So, Michael, let's talk about some more about those programs and services that the Veterans Service Bureau offers. I know there are a variety of things, including, I have a little list in front of me, so I'm going to start going down a few of them. Return the Favor. Let's talk about that.
Return the Favor is a program that the county initiated. The county and the county clerk's office initiated. It's a program where you get discounts from various vendors in the area. You come in the office, show your DD 214, we issue you a card, and then you can take that card to any vendor in the area and get a 10% discount for the most part.
So it's something that is a way for the community to say thank you.
Yes.
Sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. Stand down. There are various, I know there's a Capital Region stand down. I know I hear about stand downs with the county executive, since he is a member of the National Guard. And for those who may not be familiar, do you want to explain what a stand down is?
Stand Down is a program for homeless veterans. And matter of fact, we're having a stand down this coming Saturday. And it's where homeless veterans can come and get free medical screening, free dental screening. They can get clothing, get a good hot meal, and hopefully connect with some place that can give them a place to live.
And I should clarify, because we do record these programs, that when we refer to this Saturday, we are talking about Saturday, October 3rd. So if you're watching this after October 3rd, it is not stand down on the following Saturday. How many stand downs are there? I know it says annual, but I know I hear about more than one a year. Do you know? I mean, who normally is a part of setting that up, or?
Well, the VA usually puts those programs together, and I'm just familiar with the one we're going to have this coming Saturday.
Okay. What is the role, what is your role when it comes to a stand down?
My role is to go to the stand down, bring information on veteran services, and talk to the veterans that want to talk and help them get the benefits that they need. Help them get off the streets if they want to get off the streets.
You say if they want to get off the streets. Tell me about the challenge. It sounds like that can be a bit of a challenge.
You have quite a few veterans that are very content with the way they live. They don't want to be bothered with society. They just happy just like they are. They don't want a home. They're happy staying where they are. So, I mean, all you can do is offer them the service. Hope they take advantage of it. If not, you just keep offering them the service, and hopefully one day they'll want to come off the streets.
I'm going to guess that if someone comes to stand down, and even though he or she says they don't want that, they're still there for a very good reason. Is it, do you think, the being with others in similar circumstances?
It might be being with others, but I kind of think for the most part they get the free clothes, they get free, seeing the weather's getting a change, they get free sleeping bags and things like that, things that help them sustain through the winter months.
I know that recently it has been a challenge. I know that the numbers, when we work with groups like the Homeless and Travelers Aid Society, HADIS, we have talked about the number of homeless veterans on the street on any given night in Albany County, and I know that can go, upwards to even 17 on a night on a very cold night. Even one out there is one too many.
Yeah.
Talk to me about. I'm sure it's a struggle. You've got to feel that it's a struggle when you're reaching out and trying to help, and yet you're not going to be able to reach everyone.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you try, and I guess you can get satisfaction out of the few that you can reach. So these guys and gals, for that matter, they it's just sad the way, I don't know, it's just sad.
And you're working to change that, though.
We're trying. There's a couple other programs that we work with, HADIS. We work with Soldier On, Albany Housing Coalition. All of these programs are trying to work together to get veterans off the streets as quick as they can.
There are veterans that are off the streets. There are veterans that are in their own homes and doing very well. Property tax exemption for veterans. Do you get?
I take advantage of that myself.
Yeah. So do you talk a little bit about that and about what the property tax exemption means, what people have to do to qualify for it?
You have to be a homeowner, and all you have to do is go down to the county clerk's office and ask them to fill out the papers to qualify for that discount. It might not be a lot, 10% I think it is, but it helps.
Every bit helps, right?
Every little bit helps, yeah.
Now, I understand that maybe Gold Star parents, they get some type of exemption as well.
I'm not familiar with the Gold Star parents.
We can look further into that. We are talking with Michael Good, the director of the Albany County Veterans Service Bureau, here on Albany County News. Some of the other ways that we actually honor veterans, or a couple of ways that we do that. We have a monthly Honor a Veteran ceremony. Can you talk a little bit about how you came into the county, and one of the first things was being involved with the ceremony itself? Actually, before you came to the county, you were at a couple of different ceremonies. How does that make you feel? I've got to assume that it gives you that little tingly feeling like it does for the rest of us. We're actually honoring someone who served our country.
Yeah, to honor a vet, that's a program where there's a committee that's put together, and each month they find a veteran, a deceased veteran, to honor. And to be able to do that, you're honoring veterans from before, and then you're honoring like newly veterans, and it's just to be able to honor someone that served your country, I think is a great thing.
It can be very emotional.
It can.
With families.
It can. And to hear family members stand up and speak about somebody that they've lost, it seems like it was just yesterday that they lost that person.
Sure.
But then you can see the pride. You see the hurt in losing a person, but you also see the pride in that person serving. So.
And the beauty of the website is that every month, when that's recorded, you can find it on your webpage.
You can find it on the veteran website, the person that we honored for that month, or the previous months for that matter.
Sure. You have a long, there's a long history there, so you can go back and click on that, and it's, it's not very long. It's only about 2 minutes or so of video, but it encapsulates the entire ceremony. I know that coming up in November, we have what the county executive instituted several years ago, and that's honoring living veterans.
Yeah.
So I know that's coming up. That's got to be exciting too.
Yeah, looking forward. Haven't gotten much information yet on that, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that should be wonderful. What are some of the most asked or frequently asked questions when people come in or call you on the phone in the Veterans Service Bureau? Is there any one question that stands out more than any others?
Yeah, most people that call, they ask, I'm a veteran, is there any benefits that I can get? Or I'm the spouse of a veteran and my husband died, is there any benefits that I'm entitled to? And that puts us in motion to ask that first question with DD 214. And then, some people we can say, yes, there's something for you, or then some you can say, no, you're not entitled to anything.
So I am not familiar with this, but let's say that I am the spouse of a veteran, let's say a deceased veteran. What might I be entitled to?
A spouse of a deceased veteran might not be entitled to a lot, depending on if he had a service-connected injury or not. But they're at least entitled to the burial, to get reimbursed for the burial benefits.
Okay.
So the VA will do that. But unless they're service-connected, then there's probably not anything out there for them.
How many times do you get calls from people, let's say someone like me calls up and said, we know my dad was in the service, he talked about it growing up, I don't know any more specifics, and now he's in a nursing home, and I'm trying to find out what he might be entitled to in terms of, something with the VA. A lot of veterans I know don't take advantage of many things that they're entitled to, even though they themselves know that they're entitled to it. How, as someone who is perhaps a child of someone who needs assistance, but they can't talk anymore, or they're not able to do that, how many times do people call you and say, I need you to help me?
Well, we get a few phone calls, and there is help for aging veterans that are in nursing homes or at home and can't get out. It's called the Aid and Attendance Program, and where the VA will supplement a low-income veteran's income. So there are some programs out there that can help them.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I suppose it comes right back to knowing some bit of information and the DD 214 and getting all back there. It's coming full circle.
It is. The best question to ask is there something, a benefit that I can take advantage of for my loved one? And the service officer that you speak to, he'll know the questions to ask, so he can be able to better serve you.
My favorite statement is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So the best thing to do is to always ask, right?
Right, always ask.
Okay. I know that the Veteran Service Bureau certainly doesn't operate in a vacuum. You operate with a lot of other Albany County departments. And one particularly interesting program is something the county executive talked about recently on this program, and that is the Veterans Service Identifier program with DSS. And how has that been working? I know from the county executive it's gotten a national award, some recognition already in the short time that it's been up and running. But how effective is that for you, and how much is that able to help you by working with other departments like that?
That's a very effective program. What we're able to do is identify more veterans that come through social service, and then we're better serve them. And then they're at a disadvantage when they come in there anyway, because we feel like some veterans come in and they're dealing with people that don't know their stories. So a veteran talking to another veteran, it kind of takes the edge off of things. And so, but that program helps us identify more veterans and helps us to get them the services they need through the VA and through the state, and it kind of takes the pressure off of social service when possible.
Okay. We have Veterans Day coming up next month. It's one of those days when many times people think about it's a day off from work. They don't mean any disrespect, but it's a day of what's on sale, what movie can they go see. Are there ways that folks can celebrate veterans, let veterans know that they are supportive, and that they want to pay their respects? I mean, years ago, they used to be going out and putting flags in cemeteries. Is there something, I haven't heard of anything on a larger scale like that anymore. What would you suggest someone do to pay their respect?
If you want to pay your respects to a veteran, all you have to do, if you know a veteran, just tell them thank you. Just say thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your service. And that thank you goes a long way.
Great words. Michael, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. We have been talking to Michael Good, the director of the Albany County Veterans Service Bureau, here on Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, and we hope to see you again soon.